from entering the United States since 1972, and I think it's one of the only reasons why we still have a harp seal population today in Canada. But there are so many things that Americans can do to stop Canada's commercial seal hunt, and I think the most powerful and most important one of those is to boycott Canadian seafood products. 2/3 of Canada's seafood goes into the United States every single year, and it brings about $2.5 billion into our economy annually. Now, if you compare that to the $12 million the seal hunt brought in last year, there's no question that the economically important industry is our seafood exports. So that relationship between Canadian seafood exports and our dependency on the U.S. market, and the fact that sealers are commercial fishermen who make virtually all of their income from regular fish products, most of which are exported to the United States, gives American consumers the direct power to provide the economic incentive for this hunt to be ended. And so we have a website called protectseals.org. You can also get to it through hsus.org. And that website has a pledge form on it, and it asks people to pledge to avoid Canadian seafood products until the seal hunt is ended for good. And that pledge form comes with the ability to tell the Canadian government that you are doing this. So it's not just enough to boycott Canadian seafood products. You have to tell Canada that you're doing it. And all of the tools you need to do that, cards that you can download to provide to managers of restaurants and other businesses asking them to join the boycott, a pocket guide to boycotting Canadian seafood products, and all sorts of resources are available on protectseals.org. People can also choose to help us in the campaign in other ways, like writing the Canadian government. It's very important that people write to our Prime Minister, to our Minister of International Trade, and to our Minister of Foreign Affairs to tell them that you are against the commercial seal hunt and you will boycott Canadian seafood products until it's ended. And there are a ton of other actions that people can take, all on protectseals.org. And we have downloadable banners and all sorts of contests that people can get into. So there's no end to what people can do to help us stop the hunt. And again, it's all available at protectseals.org.
Great. Thank you so much for all the information and for your work, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Again, that was Rebecca Aldworth, Director of Canadian Wildlife Issues for the Humane Society International. Their website is hsus.org. That's actually for Humane Society of the United States, hsus.org. You can also check out protectseals.org. She mentioned that website, protectseals.org. A couple other organizations working on this: Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, their website is seashepherd.org, and International Fund for Animal Welfare, IFAW.org. All places you can get information. And the Sea Shepherds, just to mention again, that their boat, the Farley Moat, has been seized. This just happened yesterday. It was stormed and seized by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, claiming that they came within a half a nautical mile of the seal hunt and that this was, some kind of horrible violation. So they seized the ship, the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society ship, the Farley Moat. They brought the whole crew into Sydney, Nova Scotia by the Canadian Coast Guard late Saturday night, did this. Captain Alex Cornelissen, who I interviewed recently on this program, and First Officer Peter Hammerstedt were detained and charged with allegedly approaching within a half nautical mile of the seal slaughter. They appeared in court on Monday, on the morning of April 13th. They are expected to be released. That was, I guess, Sunday, actually. They're expected to be released on bail today, it says here, so that was probably yesterday. The rest of the crew members are currently waiting at the courthouse on a hunger strike in solidarity with Captain Cornelissen and First Officer Peter Hammerstedt. The Farley Moat remains in the custody of the Canadian government. It has not yet been determined whether the government intends to permanently confiscate the vessel. The Farley Moat was documenting the cruel and inhumane slaughter of seals in international waters, not Canadian waters, at the time of the boarding. It is these images of brutal, sadistic slaughter on the ice floes that Canada is desperate to keep hidden, said Captain Paul Watson, founder and president of the Sea Shepherd, What the Sea Shepherd crew have witnessed over the past 2 weeks has exposed the lies of the Canadian government claims that the seal slaughter is humane. Canadian Minister of Fisheries Loyola Hearn authorized an assault on a Dutch registered vessel in international waters in order to detract from the tragedy his department was responsible for 2 weeks ago when 4 sealers drowned while under tow by the Canadian Coast Guard. In Canada, it is illegal to film, photograph, or even witness a seal being killed without permission of the Minister of Fisheries. Hearn said that the action was taken to protect the safety of the sealers. Captain Watson responded by saying, "The sealers have nothing to fear from our cameras and everything to fear from Canadian government's incompetence. So far, Canada has been responsible for 4 deaths while we were simply taking pictures of sealers inhumanely killing seals." Again, the Canadian Mounties seized the Sea Shepherd vessel Farley Moat recently. That's that and more information you can get at seashepherd.org, another organization working on this issue of the Canadian seal so-called hunt that has been taking place since March 28th in eastern Canada, and so far they've only killed 80,000 of the almost 300,000 seals the Canadian government says they can kill. Keep in mind that this is 98% seals under 3 months old. These are babies. They're being targeted. That's why I say it's ridiculous to call it a hunt, because these animals are helpless. They cannot get in the water and swim away. For the most part, they can't get away from these people. They walk right up to them and bludgeon them, hit them in the head with hack-a-picks, these things that pierce their skull. They frequently do not kill them when they're doing these things, and they end up skinning them alive and dragging them across the ice in agony. They also shoot at them sometimes from a great distance and wound them and leave them flopping around while they go about skinning others. All of this kind of thing has been documented not only by the Humane Society but by the Sea Shepherds and by the International Fund for Animal Welfare. Again, the websites to check out are protectseals.org, hsus.org, seashepherd.org, and ifaw.org. And as Rebecca Aldworth mentioned, there's just tons of things that people can do that will make a difference in this. So please take action. It's a hopeful time, and the more people who get involved right now, the better. And maybe next year we won't have to discuss this issue.